Let's do a quick review of what division means. Both of these white areas of wool represent the number 35. If we divide 35 by 5, we will get 7. If we divide 35 by 7, we will get 5. Let me show you how I know this. What we mean when we say 35 divided by 5 is how many groups of 5 can I get? And you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups of 5 cubes of wool. When we say 35 divided by 7, what we're saying is how many groups of 7 can I get? So let's show what that might look like. This time we divided 35 by 7. How many groups of 7 colored wool blocks did we get? We got 5. So you can see that there's more than one way to divide up 35 evenly. And when we divide 35 divided by groups of 5, we get 7 groups of 5. When we divide 35 by groups of 7, we get 5 groups of 7. The reason we're looking over something that we kind of already know is that most people have come to the point where they have memorized their math facts. And that's great for dividing up 35 into groups of 5 or groups of 7, because you can just refer back to what you've remembered. But now, we're going to work with fractions and mixed numbers and do division with those. And we're going to see how that's kind of the same as this. Now we're going to look at a mixed number divided by a fraction. Here you see 4.5. Each of the large rectangles is one whole, and this is half, right? You can see that it's half the size of this. And to just show it with some equivalent fractions, each of these one wholes is actually 8 pieces of wool. Half of 8 would be 4. So there's 4 pieces of wool. The reason that I'm representing one whole using eighths is because we are going to do the math problem 4.5 divided by 3/8. Now remember, when we looked at 35 divided by 5, it was how many groups of 5? When we looked at 35 divided by 7, it was how many groups of 7? So now we're saying how many groups of 3/8? Remember, one big rectangle is a whole. So we can represent 3/8 like this. That's 3/8. How many of those 3/8 can we get out of 4.5? We're going to need to use some more colors. So far we have a 3/8. Here's another 3/8. 1, 2, 3. Notice that this 3/8 that's represented in yellow wool requires that we spread it out over 2 of the different one wholes. But aren't these 3 yellow wool cubes the same as these 3 orange ones? So they still represent 3/8. Continuing, 1, 2, 3. And so on, we're just going to keep continuing. That's 3/8. Looks like this purple 3/8 is going to need to continue, kind of like what we did with the yellow. Wow, this one goes in evenly. Let's see, how many 3/8 is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 4½ divided by 3/8 equals 12. Now let's take a look at how we do it traditionally and see if we come up with the same answer. So let's take a look at our math problem again. 4½ divided by 3/8 equals 12. That's what we believe to be true. We're going to need to solve this, so let's take out the 12. Let's see if it really is true, using the methods that we've all been taught in school. First thing we do is take the second fraction, the one after the division symbol, invert and multiply. So now it's 4½ times 8/3. Now that we have 4½ times 8/3, we should probably convert that 4½ into an improper fraction. So 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Now we have 9/2 times 8/3. I see that I can reduce a little bit here. 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. And that leaves me with 3 times 4 is 12, and 1 times 1 is 1. 12 over 1, better known as 12, and our answer is correct. So 4½ divided by 3/8 is 12. Now we've seen our procedure for how to do it, and we've seen a visual representation of why that's true. But what happens when the answer doesn't come out to a whole number? I hear you cry. We started out with 4 1/2, but what if instead we had 4 3/4? See how we have 1, 2, 3, 4 holes and then 3/4? So we have some space left over. Well, let's see, we're up to red. Can we do 3/8 more? No, we only have 2 spots to fill. Now what I want to do is I want to put down 3 pieces of wool, but I only have 2 spots. See those 2 white spots? What fraction of this are they? 2/3. That's what I have left over. So instead of 12, it would be 12 2/3. What if we started with 5? Well, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 12, 13 out of the 3/8, right? I have 13 3/8 and 1 left over. 1 out of how many? 1/3. So 5 divided by 3/8 would be 13 1/3.